What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the bq.POV podcast daily show episode provider. All right, who gives a fuck? So, if you listen to yesterday's episode 17, I believe it's called the venting sessions. I'm not sure. So actually, at the time of recording this, I have not uploaded episode 14, 15, 16, or 17. Just because I'm only doing 5 per week. And that's just kind of the commitment that I made, as you guys know, from the rules of the podcast. And I'm going to dive into those really quick. So, got 6 rules of the podcast for the episodes below 100. And I'll explain why I have these rules in just a sec. But the 6 rules that I have here. So, rule number 1, can't tell a single person about the first 100 episodes. Rule number 2, I have to record solo. Rule number 3, each episode must be a minimum of 20 minutes long. Rule number 4, you must have a lesson or a valuable takeaway from each episode. Rule number 5, a commitment to 5 podcasts uploaded per week on Spotify. And rule number 6, no edits or cuts in the episode or editing of any kind or removing anything. Everything you hear is exactly how it was. And that's me forcing myself to, I guess, more carefully pick out what I'm going to say. Because if I say something super offensive, there's no going back. So I gotta more carefully choose what I'm gonna say. And that's a little bit of a prep for in the real world when I get onto somebody else's show and I can't just be saying a lot of stuff or be talking the way that I talk. So that's that. And the reason why I have these rules, guys, is because I'm so right now for the first 100 episodes, I'm doing this for myself in order to get better at putting my thoughts out there in audible form. I'm doing this for myself, but actually in a flip side kind of way, in a backwards way. So I'm doing it for myself for sure, but I'm doing it now in 2023 in hopes that in 2026 and so on and so forth, that myself and others included will be able to come back and look at these episodes and see that this is really how I started. This is really what it sounded like and how my experience was and my everything was at the time of me starting. And I want it to be I want it to serve as some form of inspiration and proof that you can do it if you just start with exactly where you are with what you have and do your best to get that shit done. And also to take messy action. I have always thought against this pretty much my whole life. I've always been the guy there's that saying, there's a saying, it's called paralysis by analysis, which means you paralyze yourself by trying to analyze every single thing before you even start, and as a result, you don't ever start. You just spin your wheels and you plan. You have the perfect plan on paper, everything's perfect, and then when it comes to executing, you don't do shit. And so that's been me my whole life in regards to the entrepreneurial ventures that I intend to embark on. So I haven't done shit, except, I've done a few things, but it's not enough for me to have that confidence to say I've done some shit, because I don't feel like I have at all. So it is what it is. But I want this to serve as inspiration later on and proof that you can do it. So that's kind of the vision. I want to be down the road 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, and then somebody says, hey man, I thank you for making the podcast, whatever. How did you start? And then I can say in response, hey man, go to episode 1 through 100 on the bq.POV show, and it literally has my first 100 days recording a podcast while I was just documenting what I was going through and how I overcame it and sharing my perspective on everything and how it morphed into where I am now. And if I could go back, me being Bryson right now, if I could go back and hear Andy Frisella, Gary Vaynerchuk, David Goggins, Joe Rogan, if I could hear them in a similar situation as I am right now, just podcasting and recording and documenting everything, to where I could hear them and understand what they might be feeling on a day-to-day basis from when they weren't anything, before Andy even started Supplement Superstores, right? Before he even had the idea of starting the tanning bed business. And same with David Goggins. His book talks about it a little bit, but if I could hear in podcast form what he was doing the day that he was in Eco Lab doing all this shit and his thought process and how his day went on a day by day, that would be so fucking sick, dude. That'd be so valuable. And so that's the vision that I've got with all this, is reaching a certain point and then having a day-by-day summary or a day-by-day thing for the last 4, 5, 6 years, however long it is. And I realize if I do one show every day, that by the time I reach the 4-year mark, that will be 1,400 episodes, and that's a shit ton of episodes. So that's a shit ton of episodes to try to catch up on, you know. For example, Joe Rogan has, I don't know off the top of my head, almost 2,000 episodes, and every episode is 2, 3, 4 hours long. So you can't really catch up on this shit. And I don't know his schedule, how many episodes per day, or per week he uploads. But trying to catch up on that shit, good luck, you know. So I'm not sure how practical it is to want to go back and listen to all 1,400 episodes. And I haven't even, why can't I speak for fucking shit today? I haven't committed to doing a podcast every single day for 4 years, but I've done one every day for the last 18 days. So, I mean, it is what it is. So we might roll with it, we might not. But going back to what I was saying, I want it to be that inspiration, that proof, that documentation, and just serve as that valuable content, you know. Imagine you are hearing this 4 years later, it's 2027 now, and you're trying to start shit. You're trying to get going, whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to make something happen. And you see me where I'm at now, wherever I may be. And you take a bit of inspiration from what I'm doing and you want to start doing something else. How cool is it that you now, in 2027, are listening to me now in 2023 when I haven't done a goddamn thing? I'm parked in my car again on the side of the road, up on base, and I'm just hanging out, and I'm recording the show because so if you listen to episode 15, that was by far my best show, and it had a lot to do with me being able to speak freely and not feel insecure and feel like I have to have a hush-hush voice while in my house. And that's just insecurity right there, and even more transparency and vulnerability for somebody who's just trying to get started, because I'm not over it yet. Maybe soon I will be, but right now we're not, so that's why I'm in my car on the side of the road. And it also is actually a little bit more, it provides a little bit more of a window or an atmosphere, what the fuck am I trying to say? A little bit of an environment of focus, because there's zero distraction. My car is quiet as fuck. I have my laptop. I'm sitting in the passenger seat right now, and I'm just getting some work done. And segue into my schedule here, I am still struggling to get everything done in the time that I have for the day. And that's a little bit what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about yesterday in the venting session episode, and then I'm going to talk about a really cool thing that I discovered not too long ago, and it's changed how I view things just a little bit, enough for me to want to share that with the audience here. So, and again, I have 0 listeners. I went through the analytics and further confirmed that I am the only one who's ever listened to this show as of November 6th, 2023, episode 18. And only 13 episodes are uploaded right now, so whatever, it doesn't matter. 0 people have listened to the show, but as episode 1 states, I can't tell a single person about the first 100 episodes. And so going back into that before I start the show, I also want to stop saying like, and as filler words, as ways to hold my spot in my sentence or whatever. Because I can't stand, and I'm guilty of it too, that's why I'm trying to stop. I can't stand when I'm talking to somebody and every other word is like, or they say, way too fucking much, you know, and I'm guilty of it, and that's why I'm trying to stop. I think it makes me I lose credibility, I think, because when I hear other people talk that way, I don't really care how valuable what they have to say is. It's so difficult to listen, you know. I don't care how fast a car is or how whatever. If the road is shit, bro, then I'm not driving in the car, you know, because I want to be able to feel the car, I want to drive the car and be fine. Likewise with conversation, I don't care how valuable the conversation is or how smart the other person is, bro. If I can't focus on what you're saying, I'm out. Peace out. So, this is my effort for the first 100 episodes and beyond. This will never stop. But I want to just speak so much better and more articulated and get my shit polished, so that when episode 100 starts, when the podcast takes shape and I start advertising or I guess promoting it, telling my 85 followers on Instagram that I don't even have Instagram right now about the show, that maybe one or two will listen, and that'll snowball into 12, into 20 to 80, and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's the rules of my show at the moment. That's the purpose of the first 100 episodes. So if you're listening to any of these, thank you so much. It means a lot. It's fucking awesome to think that I'm putting this out there and other people on this planet. That's a big fucking truck, dude. Can you hear that? I don't know. It's cool to think that I'm putting what I think out there in the world, and other people on this fucking planet are listening, and maybe I'm changing their perspective and making them want to be better. That's fucking awesome, dude. And that's the goal. So that's that. And I do have some goals for the show here. I wrote them down on October 29th. I want some kind of intro song. I want some kind of outro song. I want some kind of intro to the podcast verbal. So something that I say every time. And I'm sure that'll come with time. Right now, I don't even know what the fuck the show's about. I'm just kind of saying a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Sharing my stories with this, perspective on that. So we'll figure that out. I'm in no rush to do that. But by 100, I will have that. So, and even if I have it for 2 episodes and then want to change it again, that's what we're doing. So, and then another goal that I have that I don't know how realistic or practical it is to have, but 10 listeners that aren't me by episode 100. So the idea is to have some kind of episode that sparks an interest or catches somebody's attention, and they listen to it, and maybe they share it with somebody, and they, but I have 10 people listening that aren't me. So I have 11 total by the end of the run of 100 episodes. And if you're listening to this and it's 2028 or whatever, and you've listened to all 100 episodes of bq.POV podcast, because I'm sure I'm going to change the name after. I'm just getting rolling with this and starting and proving that messy action is the best way to start. And if you haven't listened to episode 10 or 9, I think it is, I literally just went to a free logo maker, typed in bq.POV podcast microphone, boom. One of the first ones that popped up, I selected it, I chose it, uploaded it, and I don't really like it, but it's just further proving that you can grab whatever the fuck you want off the internet for free, put it on there, it's free to use, and now I have a logo, now I have a name, and it's my show, and here we go. Just fucking start, right? I mean, I don't know if it's visible now, I'm not familiar with how this shit works quite yet, but my very first logo, or my cover art, was just a bee. It was a white bee on a black backdrop. And that was the cover art for the whole show. So, very creative, I know. But that's how you start, dude. And I'm trying to break away from that perfectionist mindset. The fuck is falling on my car? I hope you guys can hear that. It's weird. It sounds like it's raining, but it's not at all. All right. So that is the intro. I'm going to have to figure out a way to trim that down or do it in a different way because, I don't know. All right. So yesterday I had the venting session episode. I recorded that about 2 hours before I went to bed, and I started recording that 30 minutes before I was supposed to be in bed. Now, guys, I always talk about the frustrations that I have with not being able to be to bed on time, and that's not anything to do with anything other than the fact that I want my body to recover. I want the focus. I want the alertness. I want the ability to focus and be cognizant of everything going on in life. I want the ability to put my best effort into whatever I'm doing for the next day. I want to be crystal clear on everything that I've got going on. And getting shit sleep and not enough sleep is not the way to do that. Now, can I function on less than 7 hours of sleep? Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm rocking 4 right now. And I'm going to get into that in a sec. And for me, it's not about getting my sleep where I can't function. It's about the optimizing my life and everything around it so that I can execute at the highest level possible. So, before anybody's like, oh man, he needs his fucking beauty sleep. Dude, I do. I want my sleep. I want to be recovered. That's how you build muscle, right? Sleep. Recovery, baby. Yes, I know abs are made I know muscle's built in the kitchen, but you make muscle in the kitchen, you put it on your body when you sleep, all right? So, I am rocking on 4 hours of sleep right now, and I actually feel pretty good. but I know that I should be getting the 7. 6 bare ass minimum. And so yesterday I had a very hard day and nothing to blame but myself. So if you want to hear more about the day yesterday, it was the hardest day of I don't want to. Yeah, I would go as far as to say it's been the hardest day of the whole 75 hard and live hard journey. Definitely the live hard phase 1 for sure. It was day 14, hardest day by far. And if you want to hear about how that went, go ahead and listen to episode 17, the venting session, and that'll explain that. But yesterday, I cleaned out my ice bath and changed the filter, put new water in there, went to the store, got some ice, so my compressor in my freezer didn't just fucking combust, dude. Does anybody else have a do-it-yourself ice bath in a chest freezer? When the compressor turns on, does that shit get hot? And I don't mean warm or hot. I mean, oh shit, my hand's on the stove, hot, very hot. And so that's been happening. And it starts after 3 minutes of the thing being on, and it takes about 20 minutes for the freezer to drop the water down a full degree. I would say that there's maybe 500 gallons of water in the ice bath, so it's got a lot to cool and chill, right? So I go to the gas station, I buy ice, and okay, really cool moment. I got to share this. I'm glad I brought this up. This is a proud moment, and this is just such a great. It gives me that mental edge that I'm going to dedicate a podcast to, the mental edge that I call it, and having that a mental edge. I don't know. So I'm at the checkout. I'm buying some ice. The lady comes over and she says, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I say, "Hey, can I get 12 bags of ice?" And she looks at me and she goes, "12?" And I said, "Yeah, 12, yep." And she says, "Party?" And I said, I'm just filling up an ice bath. So, yeah. And then she goes, "Oh, for drinks?" And I said, "No, it's not what it's for. It's an ice bath that I get into every morning, or every afternoon, whatever, just." And then she said, oh, I could never. Wow, I could never, And I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot of benefit. Yeah, anyway. So okay, I'll go get over here. And then that was that. But it was fucking cool because I take pride in that, dude. I'm doing really hard shit, and this person at the counter, I mean, I don't know. It feels cool to think that I'm doing this really hard thing easily for me that other people are saying I could fucking never, Because I'm about to get into this in a sec about how absolutely brutal it was that day, yesterday. So I go home, clean out the ice bath, put all the water in, put all the 12 bags of ice in, which was about 120 pounds of ice. It cost me almost $50, dude. What the fuck? I got to buy an ice machine. And so I empty it in there, I fill it up, and at this time I have the 3-hour gap between my workouts, and I want to do the ice bath after my outdoor workout for multiple reasons, but one of them being it's a lot more mentally easier to want to hop in the cold when I've just exercised and I'm already feeling a little bit warmer. So call me a bitch, like I'm taking the easy route, but getting an ice bath is still fucking hard. So that's what I do. Plus add the recovery in there from walking 3 miles with a weighted vest on, So it is what the fuck it is, man. It's what I like to do and it works for me. So I'm in that 3-hour window between my first workout and my second workout, but in that window, I've got that family event that you can listen to on episode 17. And so I'm trying to figure out if I want to be late to this family thing or if I want to go to the family thing and then just do my outdoor workout after and then take an ice bath after, which would be right before bed. And you're not supposed to take ice baths right before bed or right after a weight training session if your goal is hypertrophy and strength gains. So I was kind of stuck. So what I did, and you can listen to it on yesterday's show, like I said 100 times already, but I went for my outdoor workout after the family event, and that caused me so much frustration because I knew that I had to be in bed at a certain time, and I knew I still had so much shit to do. So I went for my outdoor workout. I come home. Everything's fine. I go to get in my ice bath, and I notice that the temperature is 39.5 39.2. Now, where I'm at right now, so I started at roughly 60 degrees, about 58. And I've worked my way down 1 degree at a time, probably even less than that, and I'll explain in a sec, all the way down to 45. And the way that I've done that is I have this probe that I put into my ice bath. And the ice bath, or the probe, is just this little string in there, and you put it into the water. It's a temperature gauge, and it puts, not a gauge, temperature, I don't fucking know, dude. And there's a little digital interface on the top there that I can see. I can set the temperature of what I want it to be at, and then versus what the probe is reading. And so it's been at 45 for a week now because that's cold as shit for me. And I look at the digital reading there, and it says my thing is still set at 45, which is right. I haven't changed that. But what the water was reading, the actual temperature was 39.2. And that's 6 degrees lower than what I was planning on getting into. And 6 degrees, you might think, isn't much, but going from 45 to 39.2, that's quite a jump. Okay, and real quick, so when I say I would go down less than a degree, the water naturally gets warmer while it's in the cooler. It doesn't stay that temperature the entire time. It slowly goes up, and then a compressor kicks on, and then it cools it down, you know. And so, for example, if I started at 50, maybe one day it'd be 50.4, and the next day it'd be 50.8, and then the next day it would be 49.9, and then the next day 50.1. So I would be going up and down, give or take a half of a degree every time in each direction. And so, anyway, going from 45 to 39 and a half, or 39.2 was quite a jump. And I opened the ice bath, and there's still ice in there. And usually the ice melts by now, but I guess I haven't put ice in there since maybe 50, 60 degrees. So I get in there, I get my swimsuit on, I go out there, I get all ready to go, and I start having the bitch ass voice, you know, the bitch voice as Andy calls it. Motherfucking bitch ass voice is pumping in my head saying, dude, this is 5 degrees colder than what, or almost, wow, that'd be 6 degrees, huh? I guess I can't do math. That's great. So this is 6 degrees colder than what you normally do. Maybe we'll shorten the time from 4.5 minutes down to 2 because, you know, that's quite a jump. So, and you're still doing a lot of, so we'll do that, you know, and that was what my head was doing. And I reasoned with it for a sec, and I thought, nah, dude, this is the final boss of today. This is the final battle of today, you know. I had a shit day, finally get home, finally about to get all my shit done, and the final boss is this ice bath for 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes, 32 seconds. Think about that relative to life. 4 minutes, 32 seconds. You can't do a hard thing for 4 minutes, 32 seconds, Bryson. Come on, dude. That's pussy shit, dude. So, 4 minutes, 32 seconds. I hop in there. It is cold as shit. It is quite a jump, and I wasn't expecting it because I've acclimated to the degrees that I choose each time. And so I went from 45 down to 39.2. I'm just going to say 39 because it's easier. So I did 39 degrees, and I was breathing like a motherfucker, dude. Usually, I hop in there, my breathing takes about 10 seconds to get under control. Going from that back down to just a, you know. And so that 39 seconds, or the 39 degrees for the 4 minutes, 30 seconds was hard as fuck for me because it's quite a jump. But, dude, let me tell you, I felt like I had just conquered all of the lands when I got out of that thing. My timer went off, you know, and I just jumped out of there. And my whole body was red because it was so cold. And now, having had that hard-ass day with that final boss battle, if you will, I now know that I am capable of the 39-degree ice bath. And so now, I'm committing, you guys can hear me say it now, I'm not going to go home and change the temperature, but I'm committing to that 39-degree ice bath. So I just skipped 6 degrees because maybe that's life's way of teaching me that sometimes I got to accelerate a little bit faster. So now we're at 39 degrees for the ice bath, and that's been the goal the whole time, just to get down to the 39 mark. And I don't know how much colder I'll go. I do know that the colder you go, the harder the ice compressor has to work to keep it that frigid of a temperature, and I know that 32 or 3, I'm not sure off the top of my head, so my bad, but that's where water freezes, so obviously you can't go that cold. And I know that there's a certain degree where it's actually very dangerous to get into because it can stop your heart. And is that a reason for me to bitch out and quit? Absolutely not, dude. Fuck that. If I go out by doing an ice bath, bro, that's fucking awesome. If I go out taking an ice bath, you guys can be just so you can rest assured that I went out happy and fulfilled, knowing I'm doing hard shit. So if that happens, just know I was happy as fuck and working on myself and feeling good. So, hell yeah. So, killed that final boss, got out of there, went into my room, did some stretching, started doing some writing, and then I went my ass to bed. And that was such a fucking win. And now, would I have had that win if I would have given up and threw in the towel and just given up? No, I wouldn't have. And so, further proof for myself, that these ultra hard things that we have going on in life, no matter how long, how short, how big, how small they are, dude, they are just they're just pivot points in life, in just critical key moments in life that you have to be able to be aware that they're happening and then be able to conquer them. If I would have listened to my bitch voice, so it's one thing to completely bail out on the whole thing. That's bitch voice galore. But it'd be another thing if I would have compromised right there. In the ice bath, actually, I tied that in to the cold shower for phase 1 of Live Hard, because my cold shower at my house, for me, is not cold. And I didn't want to do the program doing a cold shower knowing that it wouldn't be that much of a challenge. So I'm forcing myself to do the ice bath and then the cold shower in tandem, so it's almost 10 minutes of straight cold exposure. But that cold shower for me, based on where I'm at with the ice bath, just is not a challenge at all. So if I would have compromised, I guess that technically would have been failing the program, right? If I would have shortened the time, because I don't know the technicality of that, actually, but I didn't compromise and I didn't do anything. I did the full time, and I think I actually may have been even longer than what I thought. So I could have very well, because I'm talking about this now, I could have planted that seed of doubt, and then I probably wouldn't have finished this part of the program with a clear conscience. And that is a requirement of the program. You got to be able to complete it and with a clear conscience. It says on the certificate that Andy signed himself, that I also signed, so that's cool. So, all that being said, what a fucking rebound from that day into today's day, where it's 3:10 p.m., I got my first workout done, I went to work, I got my reading done while at work, working on my gratefuls for the day, focusing on positivity. Now I'm recording this podcast directly after work. It's only 3:10, and by the time I get home, it should be 3:45, 4, I guess depending on when I finish this show, which might not be for a sec. And then I'm going to have the rest of my day to get some shit done. And so, all that to say, I took yesterday, made it my bitch, running on 4 hours of sleep for today, and I'm on track for a highly successful day right after a shit storm. So don't fucking give up. You might have the shittiest fucking day. You might have a horrible time doing whatever you're doing. But just push through, get to that final bass bottle, take a shit on his chest, go to bed, wake up, and then keep going. So we'll call that the takeaway for this episode, I guess, for so far in this episode. But I do want to talk about one more thing. 2 more things, I guess. Fuck, I'm going to have to save the other one for another episode entirely. I didn't realize we're 30 minutes in. I don't know how to explain it. If anybody's ever recorded a podcast, I feel like sometimes I'll be recording and I think, okay, I'm at least 15 minutes in. And I look at the timer and it says 4 minutes or something. And then other times, right now, I feel like maybe I'm 15 minutes in, but I'm 30. So that's crazy. So if anybody's recorded a podcast or done any kind of voice recording or anything like that, do you guys feel the same way? It's fucking weird. So, one more thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to save the other thing for tomorrow, actually. But it's just a realization. Doing all these hard things and following the Live Hard program, I've just realized, right, just what it takes. And I haven't done shit. I guess I don't know what it takes in the context of business and this or that or whatever. But as far as, we'll call it beginner stages of trying to fine-tune myself to figure out what I'm capable of, I am now in full realization of what the fuck it takes and just how strong I am as a man and as a person. Because I literally am doing more in one day now than I was doing in all of my time in Colorado combined. And what I mean is, I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing 2 workouts, drinking a gallon of water, I'm tracking all my calories, I'm meeting my nutritional, I'm meeting my diet every day without fail. I'm taking a cold shower, a cold plunge, I'm reading 10 pages. I didn't do any of that for more than 1 or 2 days in Colorado. I mean, I didn't even record a show or anything. The only thing I guess I did was hit the gym and drink water. But that was just by default because I was a FedEx driver full time. So getting a gallon of water you do that by noon. So yeah, it's just fucking crazy because now I'm doing all this extra. I'm not even mad or frustrated about it. I fucking feel great. I'm happy. And I think the reason for that is because I'm doing all this hard shit and I'm doing it for myself knowing that it'll pay off later. And I don't even see the payout. I don't even know what the payout is necessarily. But I'm committed to doing it because I guess I just have faith that it's going to work out. And holy shit, that's crazy to say out loud. I guess I just believe so wholeheartedly and have such an immense amount of faith in myself to get these tasks done in my life now that they will pay out massive dividends for the rest of my life should I continue to execute and do so every single day. So that's fucking awesome. So it just makes me think where I'd be if I would have held on to this mentality and habit of execution back when I was 18. And, can't do anything about the past, but now I think, man, what the fuck where would I be now? If I would have, that's 8 years. I'm 26 years old right now. 8 years of this kind of execution on a day-to-day basis. That's crazy, dude. So I think about that often. So now the only thing that I can do is think about the next 8 years, right? And if you listen to episode 13, that's a 90-day reflective. I reflect on the last 90 days of my life at that point, and then I've set goals for the next 90 days. And one of those that I've set for the next 90 days, I've essentially already achieved. And I wouldn't have even attempted to do these things if I didn't set those goals. So set goals, man. Set some goals, write them down, look at them every day. I don't do that, so I guess I'm not practicing what I preach. But having your goals written down and I guess knowing where they are and having the ability to look at them, that's awesome, dude. It's powerful. So you never know what you're capable of until you go balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, and you don't quit. I could have quit so easily yesterday. I could have gone to the family event, came home and said, wow, fuck this. But I didn't, dude. Followed through, and the day just progressively got harder and harder and harder up until the ice bath. And as soon as I did that, I was fine. And for the sake of promoting an ice bath, I'm just going to attribute it to that and say the ice bath cured all my sorrows for the day. So take an ice bath. Quit being a bitch about it. Just go. Just hop in and increase the time as you go. And so, like I said, I'm committing to that 39-degree temperature now, which is very unfortunate that it's going to be that cold every time now. But that's growth. Dire grow. So, guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull out here. I'm going to end the show on that note. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about, well, I guess nobody's listening, so there's nothing to hype up here. But I'm going to talk about the red car theory tomorrow. And it's changed a little bit how I think about things, see things. And I'll dive more in depth on what that is tomorrow. And by the time this is out and people start listening, I'm sure you guys will know what that is. But I recently heard it and kind of looked into it a little bit and what it means. Listened to some people talk about it and started doing it for myself in the real world. And it's a real thing and it's really interesting. So I'll dedicate tomorrow's episode to about that and we'll go from there. So as far as today's episode goes, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for taking 35 minutes out of your day to listen to me document and share my journey and try to help somebody get better. So, because that's what I want to do. I just want to help somebody get a little bit better so they can live a better life and I guess, achieve what they want to achieve in this life. So, all that being said, that's the show. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.